Hey everybody, Marisa here with Intuition Live News. Me and Papa are here, and we've got a good internet connection today. I hope. Yes.
Yeah.
And
We're,
yesterday was
hopefully,
kind of a
hopefully
nightmare.
we won't. Yeah, hopefully we won't run into the problems we did yesterday. Especially on
Um,
this, what we're going to be playing. It's
yeah.
going to be, if you weren't with us yesterday, um, uh, we've got this link of someone who's reading a letter, and the letter was written by Pilate. You know, the one that was the governor of Jerusalem, and ordered Jesus to be crucified. And he didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it. He was really forced into it by the Jews. He felt really bad about it after it happened, and technically, I think he talks about the resurrection as well. But this is not in the Bible. This was a letter written by Pilate and taken to Caesar Tiberius, and so we've got half the religious experts that are saying that's real, and we've got half of them that are saying no, that's not real. So what we'd like to do is go ahead and listen to it, and when it comes time where Marissa feels like she needs to pause it, she'll come in, and whoever she might be channeling, whether it's Peter, which
We called
brings
in
us,
everyone today. We've got everyone here today. Like
yeah,
everyone.
then they want to talk. There's definitely, so Jesus hopefully will be coming in, and we did a really good prayer before we came on the air
Mhm.
to make sure that we're protected, and that we're not going to be having dark forces coming in, sneaking in. Sometimes
Mhm.
dark forces try to come in as light, and most of the time we can catch it, but not all the time. Not all the
Mhm.
time. They're sneaky. They're definitely sneaky. And then when we do catch it, they tend to play with our electronics and shut
Yep.
things off.
Yep.
So anyway, we're never quite sure what's going to happen, but we'll do our best. So anyway, Marissa will talk, but she's
Yeah.
going to have a link that she's going to play, and we're going to listen to it, and hopefully we can get through it today.
Yes, yes. And I've got Madison's, last night was Madison's first scrimmage. She did so good. She got 2 ground balls and threw 2 girls out at first base. And then she actually made a run, and it was so cute. But tonight's her opening night for softball. So we can only be on here for like 45 minutes because we were messing around with the electronics. Then come to find out, I sounded awful. The sound sounded horrible because Papa was using his speaker on his phone that's like an iPhone
Yeah,
13 or something like that.
yeah.
And he's like, oh, oops, sorry. It sounded horrible because of this. And he put his headphones in and goes, oh, now it sounds good. So, anyways, so
Yeah.
how you guys like my hair, by the way? Just so you guys know, I do wear wigs because my other company is Wig Company. So I will have a website soon and stuff like that. It's almost launched, but they're fun, and they also protect my energy. Like, for some reason, if my hair is protected and I go on Facebook, it started when I was doing all the lots of live streaming with all the people from like Hay House following me. Like, my live streams used to have like hundreds and hundreds, sometimes 1,000 people. Just when I just first turned them on, it'd be like boom, all these people. And I noticed that when I had extensions on, the energy would be different than if I didn't have extensions. And then I Halloween, like 5 years ago, I wore a wig for something, and I did a live stream when I had the wig on, and I was like, oh my gosh, nobody can get to my energy. Like, they can't tune into me. And I don't know if it's because I look different, or they're trying to send it to what they're seeing, or if it's the DNA and the human hair that's like throwing it off. I don't know what it is. And I'm too like intertwined in it to actually figure out why this happens, but it protects my energy. So anyways, that's what I always wear pretty much the same one. But the other day, this is my actual natural hair color is this color. I had it on yesterday, my natural hair color yesterday. But anyways, I did lose my hair during COVID, a lot of it, and basically went bald. Happened to me when I was 17. I lost all my hair on the top, and I ended up with a mullet. And when I straightened my hair, and then went during COVID, I lost the top of my hair. So it really got really, really thin. So Mary, one of my friends and clients, she gave me a wig, and I was like, ooh, these are nice. And it helped my hair grow and everything. And because when you wear it, you're not messing with your hair and coloring it and stuff. So anyways, I will have the site. It's going to be my tuned in website if you are interested in getting those. And it's not launched yet though, but in case you're wondering why my hair is different every day, because people are like, oh, why is your hair different every day? Did you cut it? Is this an old one? It's like, no, that's not my hair. So anyways, here we
And
go.
just say her hair is actually brown. It's about shoulder length, and it's
Yeah,
pretty nice.
it's this
It's
color,
pretty
and
nice.
yeah, my hair is about to here now. Yeah. So yesterday I had hair. My hair looked exactly like my natural hair yesterday. If you look at the video yesterday, you'll see what my hair is. Covers. I don't know if it covers the crown chakra, Rachel. I have no idea, because when I wear the synthetic ones, it doesn't block. But if I wear the ones that are true, like real human hair, it blocks it. So I think it has to do something with like how hair has our DNA in it, right? So it's just different
Yes, of
DNA.
course.
And in fact, when I was channeling with the ones that were like from one like donor, it's like these wigs are like $7,000, and it's like they hand weave each little hair in there, and it's from the same donor. It's like European hair. When I wore one of those one time, I was channeling all these different guides and like all this different information, and I was like, wow. I still remember one time when I had the real human hair extensions back when we were still in Carlsbad. I do this exercise where I have everyone go into meditation and look in the mirror and say, show me what I look like energetically. And then you can see if there's anybody in your field or not. And I had like millions of people in my energy field. And then I had my extensions taken out the next day, and I did the same exercise, and it was just me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was seeing all the people. I was seeing all the people whose hair was the extensions that I was wearing. So hair is just absolutely fascinating to me. And I just find it so interesting that hair, if you cut it, it dampens your connection to God. Supposedly, we have these little things at the end of our hair that actually connect us up to God. So Papa's very godly. Papa, you're very godly. They say he hasn't cut his hair forever. But no, but it's they say this guy, his name is Joshua something, I can't remember his last name, Joshua Buckley or something like that. But he posted something about hair, and when you cut it, there's these little things at the end of the hair that connect you in with like life force or God energy. And so when you cut it, it takes like X amount of time to get those little things back. Not that you're not connected to God if you cut your hair or shave your hair or whatever, but it was just an article because he has long hair, and he was like, this is why I don't cut my hair. But hair is just very, very interesting. Anyways, okay, so that's that. We are going to do this thing for, let me turn this video on. It's the video that wouldn't play yesterday.
You can take me off if you want to, Marisa.
Yeah, Rachel says, in your beard, Joe. Yeah, his beard definitely connects him to God.
It's getting long. I told Tanya, it's getting down there. It's almost.
I'm going to bribe her. I'm going to call her and be like, "Oh, hey, I'll give you 20 Roblox bucks if you tell him to shave his beard."
She won't do it. She won't do it. I've asked her 100 times, should I shave it? Should I shave it? She goes, no.
My theory was that Drew was trying to hide
Christmas to Christmas. No, it's Christmas to Christmas.
Oh.
I've been growing it since I've been growing it since Christmas, and so.
Okay. Well, my opinion was that Drew's trying to hide your face from other women. So maybe now you're not together.
I might go to Topeka if I'm here for Christmas. I might go to Topeka and see if I can go play Santa Claus.
There you go. Oh my gosh, that's fun.
In a department store.
Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be so funny. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Papa Santa Claus. Okay, Here we go. I'm going to hit play on this now. So here we go. This is the thing that some of it will be a little bit of replay, but it was buffering the whole day yesterday. So here we go.
If I tell you that Pontius Pilate regretted his role in the death.
Huh?
Oh, I wanted to say one last thing since we're at the beginning of the show. A lot of people may drop off as the show goes on. The Chargers aren't playing this Sunday, so all the men are going to be watching football on Sunday, and the wives might be shopping or deciding to read a book or do something. So maybe we should do a show on Sunday if you have a chance.
We're actually talking. That's funny that you say that, because I think that I was talking about that at class this week, thinking, we should do we should do something on Sunday. Yeah, let's do it. We'll do something on Sunday.
I usually would get my largest audiences on Sundays, and it was all women, because the men would be watching sports, football, or what have you. And so anyway,
let's do it.
If you've got the time, so maybe we can do it on Sunday. Today's Friday, of course. So anyway, okay, let's go into this. Okay. Marisa, you pause it when you need to come in.
Alrighty. And Jesus just walked in.
Cool.
And I don't know why I'm seeing him with one gray eye and one blue eye. I wonder if that's because gray is green. Yes. Remember you were saying it's gray, blue? Because I have like these contacts that I have in are gray. They're technically sterling gray, but they look bluish.
You'll see Pilate describes his eyes as being gray. So,
but we have this whole thing about blue and green eyes. So green is the illusion, blue is the is the real. So I think that he was seeing the illusionary Jesus. But okay, well, go ahead.
Yeah. Who have you ever seen anybody with gray eyes? I don't think I've ever seen anybody with
Somebody
gray
here
eyes.
on here yesterday said that they had a grandfather or grandmother with gray eyes. That if somebody
Really?
here on the show yesterday said they had somebody with gray eyes. I have gray contacts in, but they're blue.
That
But
would,
it's
yeah, that would seem so
Anya has gray eyes.
mesmerizing.
Anya has gray blue eyes. Her eyes are very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Of Jesus long after the crucifixion, what would you say? Did you know that Pilate wrote a letter to the Roman Emperor Tiberius concerning Jesus, discussing his miracles, his trial, his crucifixion, and, wait for it, his resurrection? What exactly does the letter say? Pontius Pilate discussing Jesus? What could he have said to the Roman emperor about the resurrection of the Son of God? Did you also know that the letter contains amazing details about Jesus' appearance that are not even found in the Gospels? This is what this episode is about, to discuss the content of this letter and what it says about Jesus. Now, I want you to judge for yourself as we read parts of the letter that Pontius Pilate wrote to Caesar about Jesus Christ.
When there was the writing there, they just said what he wrote in was Egyptian, I think. But it got translated into Hebrew, I think, or maybe wrote in Hebrew, went to Egyptian.
Egyptian would be, unless it was hieroglyphs, it would be Arabic, probably Arabic,
yeah,
Arabic to Hebrew.
So it's written, so it's translated from one to the other.
Roman, what?
You see, so he says it was written.
They spoke Italian. They spoke Italian. I don't know what language.
I just heard it was in Egyptian, and it got translated into, maybe it was Roman. It got translated into whatever the native tongue or whatever that translated it, and in that they lost a lot of the. They lost a lot. They lost a lot of the details because they're saying that in whatever was written in initially, there's less. Less words, more descriptive. Like each word is way more descriptive than like us, where we have all these different words. So it's like a symbol of something, and it would describe something. But you could say, like, you look at something like the McDonald's symbol, and you're like, oh, that's McDonald's. You get food there, and you do this here, and blah blah blah. You eat and you drink drinks, and you eat hamburgers and fries because you see the symbol. So it's almost like it was written in symbols, almost, and people would just kind of take their interpretation of it. So some of the stuff that's in this is translated into whoever's words translated this, is what they're saying. Not this video, but the actual book.
Pontius Pilate to Tiberius Caesar the emperor, greeting. There has appeared in these our days a man of great virtue, named Jesus Christ, who is yet living among us, and of the Gentiles is accepted as a prophet of truth. But his own disciples call him the Son of God. He raised the dead and cured all manner of diseases. A man of stature, somewhat tall and comely, with a very reverend countenance, such as the beholders may both love and fear. His hair is of the color of a chestnut, full ripe, plain to his ears, whence downward it is more orient and curling and wavering about his shoulders. In the midst of his head is a seam or partition of his hair, after the manner of the Nazarites. His forehead plain and very delicate, his face without spot or wrinkle, beautified with a lovely red, his nose and mouth so formed as nothing can be reprehended, his beard thickish, in color like his hair, not very long, but forked, his look innocent and mature, his eyes gray, clear, and quick. In reproving, he is terrible. In admonishing, courteous and fair-spoken, pleasant in conversation, mixed with gravity. It cannot be remembered that any have seen him laugh, but many have seen him weep. In proportion of body, most excellent, his hands and arms most delectable to behold. In speaking, very temperate, modest, and wise. A man for his singular beauty, surpassing the children of men. But at length, the chief priest moved with envy against him.
What are the children of men?
Children of men.
Just the human beings.
They're not children of God. They're children of men. But we're all children of God. So I'm not sure.
But we're also children of men. Let me rewind that a little tiny bit.
Go back about
because that popped out when this.
For his singular beauty, surpassing the children of men. But at length, the chief priest moved.
Oh, okay, surpassing. So he's better looking.
He didn't look like. Yeah, he didn't look like a normal man. He looks like something heavenly. Wow, this is the guy that ordered him to be killed.
Yeah,
and look at how he's lavishing so much praise on him. You imagine what he had to go through? I mean, he was afraid, and I think he'll say in here that he just didn't have the troops, and he was afraid of a riot in Jerusalem, and he couldn't quell a riot. So he was really handcuffed on the whole dealing with Jesus. So anyway, let's go on with and see what he says.
With envy against him, to take away his life, resorted to me with one accusator, by name Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him, and with violence drew him to me, who being examined by me concerning the basis of their accusations, answered them with much modesty and with no sign of reluctance, though he was at times adorned with great eloquence. I asked him what religion he was, and he replied, O Caesar, I am a king, but my kingdom is not of this world.
Wow.
I then inquired of him if he were a god, and he answered, Thou sayest it, for I am the truth and the life. I am the good shepherd, the door. In the midst of these proceedings, the great tumults of the Jews striving to overthrow him, I ordered that he should be crucified according to their law. And in that very hour that he was crucified, there was darkness over all the world, the sun being darkened at midday, and the stars appearing in their brightness. And the moon, as if turned into blood, failed in her light. The universe being thus darkened, the dead that lay in their graves rose, and appeared unto many. Whence my mind being troubled, I hastened to take water, and wash my hands of the blood of this just person, the like of whom hath never been before. As you read this letter, part of the report...
You said the dispensation? Is that what he's talking
dispensation? About? Yeah, because in the Urantia book, when Jesus died, he and Gabriel raised up the sleeping survivors from the time of Adam until then.
Oh, they talked about that in the channeling yesterday. They said something about sleeping survivors yesterday, and I didn't know what I was talking about, but they said sleeping survivors.
It's the people... Go ahead.
It's the people that died and that were stuck on earth and couldn't go to heaven because they
never really had a spirit of God within them prior to this.
They did have a spirit of God. They did have a spirit of God, but it was trapped.
Oh,
it's like that's why he was down here, because he came down to reclaim all the spirit of God's, basically. Like, so imagine we'll make it into, this is Jesus. He says, imagine I sitting upon a throne, although I don't sit on a throne, sitting upon a throne, looking down upon all the places and spaces in which I am living. And as I drop down a teardrop, he's saying a teardrop from God into each embryo or each child that is conceived, my consciousness, the Father's awareness, the Holy Spirit's essence is placed within that child from the point of conception. The soul exists prior to conception, and it's the one that's responsible for the conception, and it's responsible for the immaculate conception, so to speak, whereby the Father, Christ, the Holy Spirit all come together to create this being. But understand and know that God is within each being that is born unto this earth, even if it is a son and daughters of man. There is divinity. There is divinity within each and every one of you. So when your body dies, that thumbprint or that fingerprint that you have, that is God, that is individual to you and will never be any different. It'll stay the same for eternity. So that is your eternal you. The eternal you, let's just say, for many, many years, for thousands and thousands of years, those yous were, each of you were trapped within the earth planes. So imagine sitting on the throne, sending pieces of you down into all these beings and watching them destruct themselves, watching them kill themselves, watching them kill each other, watching them do things that you couldn't even possibly imagine doing yourself. But it is you. It's you. It is yourself. Because if you're the creator, if I'm the creator, this is Jesus, then I am you and you are me. We are one. So the things that you do are the things I do. The things that you think are the things I think. The things that you say are the things that I say. And even though Satan stands behind me, Satan gets his words in as well, many, many times. Satan comes in many forms as the adversary, as the one that's coming up against that which is us. But understand this, when a being creates many beings, and after a certain amount of time, that being will begin to get weak because it's created so many beings, and if they don't cross back over, that being will risk falling in with the rest of the aspects that it is created. So just as Michael fell into his own creation, he created, and then fell into his creation because his pieces fell in love with the creation and wouldn't come back. It wasn't that he, as the one sitting on the throne, went, "Oh, I love my creation," pew, and fall into it. It's, you create a being, you put it into creation, you create another being, you put it into creation, you create another being, put it into creation, and then you watch as those three beings exist and live and incorporate themselves into this world, and then they die and they come back to you. Well, Satan tries to make sure that we are tricked and we don't know to come back. So you send your beings down, and then he stops you and goes, "Wait, hold on. This is what we're going to do. We're going to send you back because you were not a good boy, or you are not a good girl. You are very, very bad. So you are either going to go to hell, or you are going to incarnate again." So you, as the Christ consciousness with that spark of life within you, with the Holy Spirit within you, go, "Oh, okay, I'll stay in this world and then I'll wait until I go back down." So he's stopping people before they even get to the gates to go back to where they're supposed to be going to. And this is the seventh dimension, the upper dimensional realms. He has control over the fourth dimension. He owns the fourth dimension, which is the earth. And understanding this, you can begin to see why all of the things in this world are so deceptive, why all the religions, why all the different ways of seeing and believing in God. It's because the only thing that you need to truly understand is that all you need to do is love God with all your heart. Go back to God. Hold on a second. Oh my gosh. You got a Mickey.
Gets to use our picture, I think, when the picture comes out. Because today's Musketeer and I got Musketeer.
Okay. You have Mickey Mouse stuff everywhere. Okay. All right. Let me finish channeling, and then I'm. Okay. Huh? Oh, you're such a good girl. You carried his backpack. Thank you. Okay. Let me finish this. Oh, just right there on the floor. Okay. Love you guys. Okay. Matthew, we don't like Mickey Mouse in this house, and Matthew got a Mickey Mouse doll at school today. That's funny. Okay. It says, well, speaking of Disney, Disneyland is something that you can look at. Like, let's just say that you're standing outside Disneyland. You go into Disneyland, you send a piece of you into Disneyland to experience Disneyland. It rides all the rides, it does everything it needs to do, and then it's supposed to come back out so that you can create another you to go back in and experience it as if you've never experienced it before. This is Christ, this is me, this is Yeshua, this is Jesus entering into Disneyland to experience Disneyland. And each time we enter, sometimes we like to enter remembering and knowing that we already did Space Mountain, we already did the Matterhorn, we already did these things, and remember that we were scared and now we're not scared of it. But sometimes we don't want to remember at all. So many times we'll experience and create a being that will stay in there, and it will almost come to the very edge, and then it will go back in. And that's not Satan keeping you in there. That is your own consciousness deciding that it wants to remember certain things. But within that world, there's the hospital world. There's the worlds where you can have your body healed, and you won't just be an old, as we have said, wineskin. It won't be an old wineskin, and your body will still be strong. But if people continue to incarnate over and over and over before being healed, this is when things start to go wrong in the world, because there's so many souls that just keep coming back over and over and over, that they're not going back for new light, and it's just reused light over and over and over and over. And that's where the world is right now, and that's why another soul dispensation is going to be occurring. And that's what happened at that time that they're speaking of in this video, is all the souls from Adam forward all left the earth and went into the heavens, back into those that created them. And then the earth was left bare. And it takes consciousness to go back into the earth for it to continue to evolve and grow, because the earth isn't going to grow on its own without us or created beings within it. Sons and daughters of God, not sons and daughters of man. But sons and daughters of man do receive the light of God within them. They do have God within them, and they do have light within them. This is a misconception that they don't have light within them. They do. People have the Holy Spirit. They have consciousness. They have the awareness. They have all of this. It's just, are you turning it on? Are you turning to it? Are you listening to it? Are you allowing it to embody you? Or are you just being man? Okay, let me hit play again. Let's see. Play.
Many. Whence my mind being troubled, I hasten to take wash my hands of the blood of this just person, the like of whom hath never been before. As you read this letter, part of the report, one thing that is manifestly noticeable is the great length Pilate went to describe Jesus. Why? The answer is simple. At the time, there were no image-capturing devices. So, when describing someone of importance, great care is given to the physical attributes of the person. With this description, Jesus would have been recognized by the reader in person or in other report. The letter continues. Recent events in my province have been of such a character that I thought I would give the details as they have occurred, as I should not be surprised if, in the course of time, they may change the destiny of our nation, for it seems of late that the gods have ceased to be propitious. I am almost ready to say, cursed be the day that I succeeded Valerius Gratus in the government of Judea. It seemed to me of all conquered cities, Jerusalem was the most difficult to govern. So turbulent were the people that I lived in momentary dread of an insurrection. To suppress it, I had but a single centurion and a handful of soldiers. I requested a reinforcement from the prefect of Syria, who informed me that he had scarcely troops sufficient to defend his own province. An innate thirst for conquest, to extend our empire beyond the means of defending it, I fear, will be the means of destroying our noble empire. As you can see, those were the words of Pontius Pilate. Pause and reflect on the significance of this passage. Pilate's communication to Caesar suggests a startling revelation. Jerusalem's defense rested upon a single centurion within his cohort, typically comprised of only a few soldiers. Valerius Gratus, the predecessor of Pontius Pilate, expressed his frustrations with governing Judea. He considered Jerusalem to be exceptionally difficult.
So that guy right there with that hair, look at, that's more of the color hair. So what they're saying is there's actually that color hair. That's more of like the color. So this sounds so out there, but Peter and Eden and Jesus, they're all, and Rosemary's even saying it too. So you know how we used to see Jesus and he'd have one eye blue and one eye green?
No.
And that would represent, oh yeah, well I used to see I would see like Christ with one eye green and one eye blue, and it was the duality of Christ, the Antichrist and the Christ. The Antichrist was green and Christ was blue. And the green was a representation of, this is me talking, not the guides, but this was a representation of like the oceans or the seas. And they said like the seas would be like the green and then the oceans would be blue. Just like a sea is like it's like an offshoot of an ocean, right? It's
right.
It's fed by the ocean. So think of the blue as being this vast ocean, and the sea is just this little contained ocean. It's still the ocean, it's still the sea, it's just contained. So that would be the green, and then the blue would be the ocean. the green is the gray that he talks about here. So when you said what color is gray, is it blue or is it green? They're saying green is the gray that they talk about here. So whether it's metaphorical, like just like, oh, they say gray, but in my mind, green is the sea and the ocean and all this stuff. So anyways, what they're saying is that there was two Jesuses. I'm like, what? There wasn't two. There was one fake one. So there was literally like an imposter that would go around and pretend to be Jesus. And there was no really like communication or connection there. So there's people that actually remember there was like this rebellious like Jesus person. So I'm asking Peter, I said, Peter, is this true? And he says, yes. He says, in this time, you could have one person in one part of the country, another person in another part of the country. Word would not move fast enough to know that one was not the other and the other was not that one. One was it's like he was like a rebellious, like he was a total rebel. And I feel like that is I don't feel like that was not Christ. That was somebody else. And I'm like, so it was an imposter. And he says, yeah, it was basically an imposter. So many people believe that somebody that said he was Jesus, they believed that was him, but it really wasn't him. It was somebody posing as him. And when they killed Jesus, they killed the real one. They killed the real Jesus. They didn't kill the fake one. But it's the fake one. I'm asking, was it one of the apostles? Or is it one of the ones that did he know Jesus? And they said no, he didn't know him, but he knew of all the teachings, and he just was living off the benefits of being this person.
You can ask Peter. Peter and Paul speak at great length about not following false prophets. Avoid false prophets. It's all through the New Testament. Avoid false prophets. Mm-hmm. Maybe this was a Lucifer or Satan's way of trying to trick people into thinking that 100%. Was the Jesus. Yeah, mm-hmm. And that would be.
And he had the green eyes.
False prophet.
Yeah, he had the green eyes. He had green eyes, and then so whenever Rosemary's like, oh, Jesus is so hot, he always has like these blue, swirly, beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
But remember, I used to see him with green eyes too. Sometimes I'd be like, "What is going on here?" And yeah, exactly. So I mean, imagine it's like there's no cell phones. There's letters. They send it by crow or whatever. I don't know. And it's like so anybody could pretend to be anything. And I just asked Peter, did he even have like apostles? And he said, no, he didn't. He would just come and go and disappear. Sometimes in the same town that they were in at the same time. And he was just an imposter, and people would vow their lives to him, and it was the Antichrist. Basically it was the Antichrist, and he was coming in basically pretending to be him, which explains why. Remember one time I was like so freaked out because I said, Jesus, help me, and it was like, I am Jesus, bitch. How do you think I fooled everyone? That's him. That's the fake guy. Yeah. So it's so how do we know that Peter says you look at the eyes because the eyes bear the soul within them, and if you look at the eyes, you'll know where the soul connects to. He says it's something that happens even now. There's impersonators of people that are well known that come out, but back then it was like totally like people just didn't know the difference. They said there was no photo. There's no cameras. There's no way to document really how somebody looked unless you described them. So there was really no way of knowing. You can't be like, oh, that's the guy I saw in the newspaper the other day. He's walking through the streets right now. It's like you just hear about people, and if they say that's who they are, that's who they are. That's really interesting that the guy was like a rebel. He was a fighter, and he would get like angry and he would fight and stuff like that. So some people have written down in history books that Jesus was like this rebellious rebel rouser like person that was like, and I believe that. No, it's not this one. This one wasn't with like Mary Magdalene, but he was with women and all this stuff. So it's like there's a lot of people that have written down all this stuff about Jesus, and it's about this other person. Peter says yes.
Maybe,
I'm like,
maybe that other person is the lineage of all the people who think that Jesus had married Mary Magdalene and had children, and that they're still children from Jesus, when it was really coming from the
Antichrist.
Prophet. The Antichrist.
Yeah.
So Jesus himself did not have any children. So it may have come from an imposter. Yeah.
No, they're saying Jesus did not have children. If he was to have children, that the frequency of the children would have been just ridiculously high, and it would have left him down here. He needed to leave the physical planes and go up into the upper dimensional planes to call back all the energies. If he would have had a child down here, he would have then therefore been that child, and then he would have been down here, and then all of his pieces would have come back to him here. So it's like the frequency of him attracts all the frequencies of the spirits and the souls that he created, which is what he was trying to get to come back through the door. He didn't want to stay down here. He didn't want to stay down here. If he stayed down here, then there was no point in even coming down in the first place. So it would have been, he said, it would have been bringing heaven down to earth, and that's what they've already done through creation. But it was more about like, hey, everyone, get back over here. Let's go. So, anyways, that's very. I wonder if there's. Anyways, I'm not going to get into my mind. My mind's going to go nuts. Let me see, because now I want to be like, oh, is there really a rebellious Jesus that people write about? I've never heard about a rebellious Jesus, but we'll see.
He considered Jerusalem to be exceptionally difficult to govern due to the turbulence of its people. This sets the stage for Pilate's subsequent account of the precarious situation he inherited. Pilate's account reveals the inadequacy of military resources for maintaining order in Jerusalem, despite the city's potential for unrest. He had only a single centurion and a handful of soldiers. This shortage of troops highlights the precariousness of Roman control in the region and the challenges of quelling potential uprisings. Pilate's apprehensions about the consequences of overextension and the inadequacy of military resources affected his decision-making process, including his handling of Jesus' trial and crucifixion. Now, let's get back to Pilate's letter. Among the various rumors that came to my ears, there was one that attracted my attention in particular. A young man, it was said, had appeared in Galilee preaching with a noble unction a new law in the name of the gods that had sent him. At first, I was apprehensive about his design to stir up the people against the Romans, but soon my fears were dispelled. Jesus of Nazareth spoke rather as a friend of the Romans than of the Jews. One day, in passing by the place of Siloam, where there was a great concourse of people, I observed in the midst of the group a young man who was leaning against a tree, calmly addressing the multitude. I was told it was Jesus. This I could easily have suspected, so great was the difference between him.
You hear that? I was told that was Jesus. That shows that. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Point taken.
And those who were listening to him. His golden-colored hair and beard gave to his appearance a celestial aspect. He appeared to be about 30 years of age. Never have I seen a sweeter or more serene countenance. What a contrast between him and his hearers, with their black beards and tanned complexion. Okay, let's stop to comment on this as well, because I believe this is the only recorded explanation of Jesus' appearance in all historical documents. This particular interest is the description of him as having golden-colored hair and a beard. In the earlier version of the letter we read, it spoke of Jesus having a chestnut-colored hair. Same thing. However, the inclusion of this detail raises questions about its authenticity. Was it an addition made by later scribes copying the document? Or did Jesus indeed have lighter-colored hair and beard compared to his contemporaries? There are those who believe this is an add-on by those who copied this document over the years, but we don't know for sure. It's certainly intriguing. Personally, it does really matter. Now, back.
Okay, what did he say here? Let me rewind that real quick. It says they think it was an add-on. Let me see.
But we don't know for sure. It's certainly intriguing. By later scribes copying, it spoke of Jesus having a chestnut-colored hair. Same thing. However, the inclusion of this detail raises questions about its authenticity. Was it an addition made by later scribes copying the document? Or did Jesus indeed have lighter-colored hair and beard compared to his contemporaries? There are those who believe this is an add-on by those who copied this document over the years, but we don't know for sure. It's certainly intriguing. Personally, it does really matter. Now, Back to pilot report. Unwilling to interrupt.
Okay, I keep hearing 3624, 3624, 3624, 3624. I don't know what that is. Is that a year or like what? This is obviously 2000 years ago, right? 2632. Why do they keep saying that? 2632, 2632, over and over and over and over and over, over and over. And I'm looking at the document, like this document, and I see 2632 written on it. And then I see the document that we're reading here, and I see 2732. 2632, 27. Why is there? Oh, they're showing. Oh, because they're showing that they're not the same. Yeah, there's an add-on. They added that. They added that. I don't know why. Peter, I said why. Peter says, why do people do what people do? He says, if somebody is described just like you with your hair, if somebody describes you and they tune into you and they want to feel your energy, feel the essence of that which you are, and you're described as a completely different being, if you're described as a different being, then it's going to be hard for people to tune into that which you are. You can tune into someone's name. You can tune into their full name, their first name. You can tune into their birth date. You can tune into their appearance. You can tune into the idea of them. But if Jesus is being described differently here than he truly was, what does this do? It tunes people into the Antichrist. Because if you're tuning into Christ, but you're not tuning into Christ, that's Christ, you get the Antichrist. It's one or the other. There's no shades in between. It's Christ or Antichrist. When you step into the realms of Christ, this is what you've got. Fear and love, fear and love, fear and love. Accuracy, elaboration. Now, elaboration would be Lucifer's forte, so to speak, and Satan's art, so to speak, because Satan, just like the Holy Spirit, are both creation energies, and Satan just is not eternal, while the Holy Spirit is eternal. Christ consciousness enters in and uses these energies to create, therefore making it the Christ or the Antichrist. And when we say Antichrist, we just mean anti to that which is forgiveness, love, compassion, strength, truth, oneness, beauty, all of the things that you want to feel rather than what you don't want to feel. But as man, we initially go towards this sin, the sin nature. We go towards this not feeling love, not feeling compassion, not feeling strength, not feeling hope. For it is much, much harder to forgive someone than it is to try to get revenge on them. It is much harder for a human being to do that. But for a spirit, it's much easier to forgive than to try and get vengeance. Try to get vengeance on someone as spirit, it's just not possible. It's just not possible. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. It feels awful. And so it just doesn't happen. So keep on going. I don't even know what I just said. Play.
Interrupt him by my presence. I continued my walk, but signified to my secretary to join the group.
There's nothing you have to say or anything like that?
No, I was just asking, how much time do you have? Don't you have to go to Madison's game?
You're right. Yeah. I need to get ready. That's why Jeff was knocking. Okay.
Let's do the whole. Not tomorrow. On Sunday.
Okay.
Tomorrow's Saturday. Let's do a show on Sunday and do it as long as we have to do it.
Okay.
So that we can get through this. And I'd hate to have to start in the middle of it again.
It's got 6 minutes left.
It's got 6 minutes left.
We can just tell people to refer to this, and then we'll do the or I just won't comment on the first 9 minutes, and then I'll just comment on the last 6 minutes since I already commented on the first 9 minutes. On Sunday, we'll just play it.
We'll just play it without commenting unless Jesus wants to hop in there again. But anyway, sorry everybody, I'm not on the screen. But thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. And
yes.
Here's Papa. Risk's got to take off.
Madison's
got to take off. Kids are the most important thing. And so you need to be there for them. So you go ahead and take off. Let's plan on having a show sometime Saturday afternoon while we know that all the men are out there watching. Sunday afternoon while everybody's watching football.
And you said the Chargers are not playing. They're not playing?
They're not playing because they got a bye this week. So
Oh, okay.
I don't really have any interest in watching any others. So anyway, so I'm open to doing a show on Sunday if you want
Yes,
to do it.
let's do it.
And
That's
I
exciting.
usually I get my usual biggest audiences on Sundays. So
yeah, I can do
anyway,
that, and then I can have a little meditation afterwards because I haven't had meditation on Sunday in a long time. And with the energy shifting and changing in class, the guides just keep talking about how like the world is just going to be like in this like not frenzy, but just kind of like everybody's energy is just going to be so like everywhere, and then it's all just going to kind of like piece itself back together. Last night we did, or the night before we did attunements to like this super high vibrational version of us, and everybody was like, it was so cool to see everyone's energy shifting and changing so fast. Because usually it takes a long time to do people's healings on Wednesday night, but on Wednesday night I was just like boom, 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 doing the healings because the vibration of the planet is going up. We're not as affected by the fourth dimension anymore, unless you want to be stuck in the drama. And I think that's honestly why all our little family text messages recently, it's almost like it's untangling the past and like almost like kind of like opening things up and like having like, you know, like my nieces like say like something to you, it's like that opens that up, they get to say it, and then you get to say something. It's like, it's not a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. I think it's awesome. I think it's healing when family talk and they tell the truth to each other, or they share, and maybe one side goes, wow, that's totally not true, or that's not the picture, and let me clarify it for you, because families live so much. This is what Jesus says. He says, in wrapping up, he says, just as we said yesterday, he says, with family is important. He says, but understand and know that every single one of you, each and every single one of you, and this includes you two, he's talking about us. He says, what you must understand is that your entire lives are built on assumptions, and it's not assuming anything that really matters whatsoever. It's just assuming that somebody didn't call you because of this reason, but it's not really an emotional thing for you. It doesn't really matter to you, so you don't really think beyond that. But then you set that in your head of, oh, they didn't call me because of this reason, and then you move forward. Then 10, 15, 20 years later, when something does matter, nothing ever really gets to come out. You don't get to go back to 20 years and go, oh, you didn't call me on my birthday because of this reason, because you didn't care. It's like, oh, actually, I was in a car accident that day and I was in the hospital, but you didn't know. Or just what things like this. There's so many assumptions that we place because we project our own reasons for doing things onto our family members, because it's so easy to see ourselves in our family members, even more so than we do in strangers. We project ourselves on others all the time. It's just what human beings do. We can't see anybody for anything other than what we are, or what we already are, or what we've experienced. It's just not in our mind to see anything other than what we've already experienced, because we have nothing to pull from. We don't have anything to draw from. So understand that as this week continues, as this weekend goes on, try to find some place within you to communicate with your family members, maybe family members that you've had a falling out with. Communicate with them and say, hey, you know what? I remember back when we started to have this falling out, this happened, or talk about it, because if it's so old, it shouldn't be emotional anymore. And if it is emotional, it's something that needs to heal within you, because your family is important. You came here together. You will leave together, believe it or not. There are family members that are still waiting on the other side for you to finish your trip here so that they can go and continue on into the next place, because families come together and they leave together. So whether you like your family or not, they're your family. You're here with them, you'll leave with them. And then when you get back over there, you'll be like, oh my gosh, you were my sister down there. You're my mom up here, or you're my dad up here, and you're my brother or my son down there. So there's different shades of reality where your family members are different family members in other realities. And you just play different parts in these areas. But just allow yourself to not assume certain things, not use past judgments to decide what you think and feel about your family members, and see if you can make up with one family member a day if you had a falling out, or become closer to somebody that you love, but you have no relationship with. Why? Why don't you have a relationship? It's because we assume that they don't want to. You assume that you don't want to. You assume it's too much work. Just try. Just try. We bless you. We bless you. We bless you. That was Jesus and Mary together, and Eden and Sophia, all four.
Wow.
And Peter's like,
cool.
and me.
And
okay.
Peter, we love Peter.
Yeah. I love Peter. Anyways, okay, guys, I'm going to go get ready for Madison's thing. She's so cute. She's going to wear a little tutu and these little antler things and sunglasses, and they're going to go do their opening night and do their little dance, their softball thing. So cute.
Cool.
Anyways,
Great.
All right. Okay. Love you, Papa. Oh, here,
Yeah.
you're not on there too. Let me make
Have
sure
a,
that everyone can say bye to you.
Oh,
See, you're
perfect time.
there you are.
He's telling me I've got a low battery, just in
Yeah.
time. Okay,
All right.
listen,
Okay.
have a good night and a good
Okay.
Saturday, and I'll see you on Sunday.
Okay. I'll send you pictures of softball tonight. Okay. Love you.
Okay,
Bye.
love
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.